In a world in crisis, can three idiots find hope in the darkest of places? Will love conquer all, or will hate win out in the end? This is a show called Hate.
Hello and welcome to a show called Hate, a podcast in which we explore love, hate, and everything in between in search of greater meaning and perhaps a little perspective. And bloody hell, it's like ships in the night. One guy leaves, another one comes in.
I'm Nick.
Nick's here. I'm John. Hey!
Yeah, I can't stand to be in the room with him anymore.
No.
And this schism, which has been broiling away, as I'm sure the listeners have been able to detect for years, actually, really since episode 1.
Oh, it's there. If you read between the lines.
This drama has bloomed into a gorgeous flower.
I dream of it being a schism. A schism would be a merciful improvement based on what we currently have.
Yeah, well, I won't be in the room with him. I refuse.
Get him out of my sight.
Yeah.
No, I won't even look at him.
So the fact that he had a legitimate excuse tonight was perfect for me. So
yeah, he is actually working.
Yeah,
we
for
should.
Once.
I know.
Am I right?
He doesn't. To his, I was going to say to his credit, no, it's the exact opposite. Like he does have a habit of pointing these things out generally.
Yeah,
like right before we're actually.
I mean, he must have known about this date for literal months.
As somebody who used to work in education, like it is pretty much the most important day of the year, and it's always the same.
Yeah. I think there's a sweet spot with regards to telling someone that you're not going to make a date, because if you do it too early, they'll just forget.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
And then you'll get round to that date like 2 or 3 weeks before, and they'll just be like, or a week before, and they'll just be like, hey, we're good for tonight. And you're like, I told you. And you'll be like, I don't remember. Because I don't have a memory that lasts longer than, say, a month at best.
No.
So there's a sweet spot, but he definitely misses the sweet spot by a good decade or so.
Yeah, and it is hard to keep appointments. And I think one of like the really just kind of useful and reliable things about this podcast is that it's every 2 weeks.
Yeah, really...
It really doesn't change. No,
it's the only rock in my life. Actually,
yeah,
it's the only consistent thing I have, and I hold on to it pretty tightly. Maybe not as tightly as you.
No, well, so I'm like Norm at the bar. I'm just kind of like,
yeah, you are.
Someone has to be there for the guests.
Old Faithful, we call you.
Yeah.
The Old Faithful John. He's always on the podcast.
I often will post earlier in the week in our private chat, the three of us.
We have a show called Hate
and
Chat.
I will say, are we still up for Thursday? And it looks like I'm asking the group.
Yeah, but I know.
But what I'm really, you know what I'm really asking.
Chris Ray.
Yeah.
Available.
He's a busy boy. He's got a lot going on.
He is probably he's definitely the most sociable of us. He's got all these engagements and things. He's like a sort of Southern Belle in the sort of 1800s, you know. I never miss an appointment, sort of, you know.
Yeah. It's funny, like, yeah, and to his credit, this is genuinely to his credit.
Okay, here we go. Yeah.
I feel if we didn't have him in our lives, there's a very good chance we would never do anything remotely normal.
That's very true, because he's constantly, him and Liz, but
very good,
are like, hey, shall we go to the park this weekend? Because there's an event where people are, I don't know, taking their dogs for walks. And it's like, a human thing.
And I'm like squatting in my boxers in my kind of office, like just covered in gunpla.
Yes.
You know, and I'm like...
covered in gunpla.
I sweat. And I'm like, what?
Yeah.
The outside? You know, and then I just go, I vigorously scour myself down, and then I turn up looking like a
kind of a human
kind
being.
of like a normal person.
Yeah, I'm usually like sort of drowning, like head down, like an ostrich with its head in sand, but just in a box, a Tupperware of Lego, and I just, oh, what was that? But no, it's true, and they're always like recently they were like, hey, shall we, this is an actual thing that happened in our actual social lives. Chris and Liz were like, we found this great pastry bakery.
And I think our listeners have heard a little bit about it.
Have they?
But please.
But this is a prime example of it. It's like, there's this great bakery, and we're like, what? We live in the same town as you. And they're like, hey, Sunday morning, shall we go down, join this queue, and get some sweet baked goods? And it was awesome.
I know.
But it was a very human thing to do. And that's not to say it's like boring or conventional.
Yeah.
They do interesting shit, but I just don't leave my house unless Chris or Liz sends me a text to say, hey, do you
know.
do something.
The thing is, when they get hot news, it's about a secret bakery on a trading estate. And when we get hot news, it's like because there's a new Togepi shiny coming
Yes,
out.
indeed.
You know?
Yeah.
And we're like, and for some reason, he just doesn't care.
No, and we tell him about the
I know.
Togepi shiny, and he goes, "Those words aren't in a language I'm familiar with." And we're like, "What?" Like, and it's infuriating.
I know,
It feels like talking to a wall sometimes. But then maybe he's better connected. I don't know. I don't think he is. I'm still happy with the Togepi stuff.
He does have these odd moments of like he once said to me, he said, "John, he said you have it together like 99.9% of the time,
Okay.
but when you drop the ball, you really
drop it
You
hard.
drop it hard."
Yeah.
I've had two things this week.
Oh, well, you've dropped the ball.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Where or it feels like you only had if you'd added like a comedy soundtrack. You know what I mean?
It's like that sort of music. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
know what you mean.
about an hour and a half before recording this show, I was prepping tea. I was making dinner for Lucy and I. It'd been a bit of a stressful day. I've been working quite hard. Got a lot done, but just like, I need to clear my head. I'm going to cook.
Cool.
So I'm prepping tea, doing like a poke bowl. You know, so got
Love
some
it.
salmon, got some rice, got some
Togepi.
got some nice soft eggs, that sort of thing. And we had some padron peppers.
Oh, yeah.
You know, those cute little green peppers.
Delightful.
Go to a bistro bar,
Oh, no.
have a beer, you know, and they're like, "Would you like some padron peppers?" I'm like, "Yes, I would."
Fuck, actually, yes.
I'm charmed. And they'll bring you a little saucepan full of like
Did
these.
a little spade action there. I was like, they're served on a little spade.
Well, it's
little
it's
trowel.
Yeah, a tiny little trowel comes in,
Yeah.
and you just have this big salty bowl of padron
Mess.
peppers, and they're like delightful.
They're great.
Mm.
Oh, a sweetness.
I don't really think of a padron pepper as being spicy.
No, no.
No, you just think of it as like it's just a pleasant.
Yeah. Kind of like an olive, you know, like
Yeah.
I mean, not in spice levels, but in terms of like the positioning in
Savoury.
in food. Yeah,
Yeah, it's just a savoury treat.
exactly.
And I was cooking and I was like, okay, well, I'll char these a bit. You want them to kind of like
Nice,
this back.
yes.
So
Ooh,
I
charred
was
veg,
frying it.
like that.
And Lucy said, and in hindsight, these were maybe like kind of, it was a bit of like a warning. But she said, "Do you know what the interesting thing about padron peppers is?" And I said, "No." And she said,
Tell me.
She said, apparently, like 1 in 10 are like really spicy. So that's why they're good bar food, because it's like a kind of
Roulette.
ooh, you never know what you're going to get. I'm like, I've never had a spicy padron.
No.
So anyway, these are just cooking in a pan. And then I start kind of like coughing, you know, and I'm like, oh, it's something a bit kind of acrid in the air.
Comedy music.
And then Lucy's coughing a bit, and then I'm like, oh gosh, I guess they're a little spicy. And then it progressed to like
Oh my god.
and I'm like, I'm going to take them off the heat because I think this is actually just kind of.
I think I'm dying.
Yeah, maybe. I'm like, but maybe the heat is cooking off them.
Right. Sure. Yeah.
Maybe,
Yeah.
yeah.
Maybe.
So I didn't touch it, but I got like the spatula and I picked up a tiny bit of padron pepper and I cut it in half and I just put a tiny bit on my lips. I was like, whoa, oh, that's quite hot. You know, I was like, oh, it's burning. And I was like, I honestly don't think I can eat these because I'm a bit weak for heat.
Sure.
You know, Lucy's a bit stronger.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm not going to have any of these, but you can decide, darling. Fine. Go upstairs. Pick up a book. Because I'm like, I wonder if I'll read
I
this.
love a book.
Oh, I think I've got an eyelash in my eye.
Oh no.
I'm gonna rub my eyeball.
No.
Within seconds.
Oh my god, I've done this. Not with a padron, but I've done
Yeah.
this.
But the padrons are meant to be mild. Padrons are your friend.
They should be.
Within seconds, blinding agony.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Blinding agony.
I mean, I was an idiot because I did it with a literal chili, which
Oh.
are known to be spicy foods, right? So you at least have a slight kind of. I'm not necessarily going to give it to you because you're already choking to death over it. So but you do have a slight allowance here because
yeah,
they're not
thank you.
typically
Thank you.
spicy.
Yeah. It looks just like a green pepper,
Yeah.
but smaller. It doesn't look evil.
And I feel like a classic pepper that you just like a normal pepper.
Yeah.
If I touch my eye after touching that wouldn't give me
Nothing.
spice.
No.
No.
Be quite refreshing.
If anything, I actually should squeeze one into my eye.
Yeah.
And to feel alive.
People would pay a lot at
Yeah.
an exclusive spa. That's
Yeah,
the word. I was
there
going to
we
say
go.
gym, but yeah, no.
Or
spa,
gym.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
So yeah, I've done it with touching a chili, and that was just stupid. That
Yeah.
was just downright stupid. and I
well, in
regretted
the
it.
past I've got it in my nose.
Oh yeah.
But I've never but honestly like it
Oh,
just
it's the worst.
I
I think I've done it more than once actually.
just to feel something. It was agony on a level I haven't felt in quite some time.
And there's nothing you can do.
No, like I
I used Optrex. Have you ever used Optrex?
It's like eye wash, isn't it?
Yeah, slightly saline, I think.
Yeah.
Which you'd think would be bad for your eyes as well, putting salt water in an eye. But at this point, you know, I'll
Your
take
tears are salty.
anything. Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Maybe that's why.
But I had my head under the tap. I was like, you know, like just literally like crying.
Yeah.
But trying to cry, but couldn't open my left eye. And when I did pry it open, bright red.
Yeah,
yeah.
This is it. You can't open it as
Yeah.
well. It's frustrating as hell.
Yeah.
You really want to just pull that thing open and gush some water into it.
But then, like, you know,
And this was like an hour before now.
yeah,
Because you look fine.
I know.
I think you look great.
It's like, thank you. Yeah,
Maybe it's refreshing.
your left eye is particularly vibrant. Actually, yeah.
There's a lot of blood in it.
No, all that conjunctivative is just gone.
Whew, it's flushed out.
But then my nose is burning.
Yeah.
And I'm like, is it traveling down my nose? Like, is it in my?
God.
Is it in
It's
my?
like it gone in through your eye.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
And then it's like my right eye starts burning a bit because I guess some of my snot is getting in my eye, and
Brilliant.
then my
Yeah.
lips are burning. I'm like, this is horrendous. Like,
It's getting worse.
and I think the frightening thing about it is that you get slightly older and you start, and you know, if you're very lucky, you don't have regular terrible pain in your life.
Yeah, true. That's such a good point.
Yeah.
We're always like, as a kid and teen and young adult.
Yeah.
I was constantly getting into scrapes, less so as I got older. But like getting into pain was kind of like a thing that you dealt with
Yeah.
when you were younger. But now you can control your environment well enough.
Yes.
That breeds inability to deal with said pain.
Yeah.
Because then suddenly you're like, fuck, what's this?
Because I don't want to say that, like, I'm not like bloody like Ray Mears or anything. I'm not like, you know, oh yeah, I can handle anything. I'm an adult. You know, I
Yeah.
pay my taxes, you know. But then like this pain hit me so quickly and so hard, and I was so instantly incapacitated that any illusions I might have harbored about thinking like, oh yeah,
I can deal with it.
oh yeah, if push came to shove,
I could fight through it.
I'd be there.
This
you know.
is what pepper spray is, right?
Yes.
What you just felt tonight is like someone had pepper sprayed
Yeah,
you.
but I have been pepper sprayed.
Have you?
Yeah, this has come up on the podcast.
Oh, yes,
but
yes, that's right.
indirectly
Yeah.
pepper sprayed.
Yes,
I
I
got like
remember.
secondhand pepper spray.
Yeah.
But that was more like coughing. But I guess I was lucky I didn't get it in my eyes, to be honest. That one guy got it in his eyes. Got it in his eyes bad.
He's never forgotten it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
So, yeah. Well, I don't know whether that counts as you dropping the ball, like, majorly drop. I mean, you shouldn't have rubbed your eye.
No.
And it became much bigger. But really, your biggest crime here was rubbing an eye.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's not
Thing is, I kind of
catastrophic failure.
feel quite attached to my eyes.
Yeah.
Like
me too.
I use them
I
quite a
think
bit.
Quite a lot to think about going blind
Yeah.
and how I would not like that very much.
No.
No, it wouldn't be high on my list of priorities.
No, indeed. Yeah. I think if that, yeah, I often think about like, well, if I lost my sight, I have to pivot pretty hard to another creative endeavor because I think it's
I guess audiobooks are now
Yeah.
a thing for me to enjoy.
Yes.
But yeah, yikes.
Anyway, the other kind of stupid thing that happened to me is I've been running.
I think I might know this story, but for the
The
listeners.
The long and short of it is we finally come out the other side of a heat wave.
Yes.
I went for a big ass run.
Big ass run.
It was my longest one to date.
How long?
11 and a half miles.
Holy crap, that's long.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And the heavens opened around mile 4.
Yes.
And it's probably the wettest I've ever been.
Including like
And
swimming.
I had a shower like this morning, you know. Like it was like 2 months worth of kind of pent up rain.
I guess the reason it would be the wettest you've ever been is because typically, and I don't know this for sure, but you don't shower with clothes on.
No.
And also you don't tend to go into a pool or into the sea fully dressed.
No, not regularly. No.
And I guess if you're wearing clothes and you get wet, it feels more wet.
Yeah, but it felt actually in the moment quite refreshing.
I bet it did.
Like it felt after the month we've had.
Yeah, I was actually, when you sent the message to say I am more than drenched,
Yeah.
I was kind of jealous actually.
It was kind of wonderful. And then you're already soaked.
Yeah.
So I'm like, well, it's not going to get any worse.
Yeah.
Like it's probably impossible for me to get wetter.
But it did get worse, didn't it?
Well, only because some of the later consequences where, because I had like a little bum bag on.
Yes.
You know, and I had my phone in there. Then I had my headphones.
Brill.
And I've been having some trouble while running. I think I was getting so sweaty that the sweat was leaking into the little kind of like volume control thing on my headphones.
Nice.
Because they're cabled.
Yeah.
And then I'd be running and then the volume would go maximum and then nothing. And then max, which is quite distracting when you're trying to run.
Yeah.
So I'd wrapped electrical tape around it. I was feeling very prepared.
Yeah.
Didn't really have that issue. Great.
Great.
Anyway, I think the long and short of it is I think I flooded my phone which was running my podcast. It was running Strava.
So while you were out running, did it cut out?
No.
Okay,
It's
so
fine.
it survived all the way to the end of the
Got
run.
home, used it that evening.
Oh,
No problem.
weird.
Put it into charge.
Oh,
Woke up in the morning, went to turn it on,
fucked.
died.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because they say that if your phone gets wet, the best thing you can do is turn it off. Because then there's no charge inside it, and the charge will short, obviously, if there's water in there. But the fact that you were using it after the fact,
Yeah.
that's weird, isn't it?
I've heard some people say that, like, when you're charging it, it might heat up. So water might vaporize
Oh, shit.
in the phone.
That's probably not good.
It's probably not good at all,
That sounds
to be honest.
bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, because I didn't think there was a problem
No.
in the moment, or I would have, like,
Because it was working in the evening.
yeah, because it gave me sweet audio all the way around that run. And then you get home and you're like,
So is it completely fucked?
well, I've left it with a guy to get repaired.
Oh, a guy. Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, it's not working.
No.
So
Okay.
I have no phone at present,
Fingers crossed.
which is quite liberating.
Yeah,
actually.
I can imagine, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Maybe you didn't have to go quite this far to reach that level of liberation. Liberation? Sure.
Libation.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yes, delicious. Delicious libation.
I've got to say, like, being that wet was great. Genuinely great for hydration while running. Yeah, like I felt pretty.
Oh,
like,
yeah. Well, it's done wonders for your skin.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
your eyes.
You look at one red eye.
Red-eyed John.
Yellow skin. What's up with you?
Well, the reason I was away off of the last podcast and shit was because I was in America.
Oh, they've heard.
Oh, have they?
Yeah,
They've
we
heard.
talked at length,
Oh, God.
but I think we want to hear your side.
Well, I will. I'll listen to the episode as and when I'm ready. I'm not ready yet. But yeah, it was wild. In my defence, over Chris Ray, this was a very last minute thing.
Yes, indeed.
So normally, if I was planning a holiday, I'd like to think I'd tell you that I'm not going to be there. But
Did you bring your
win
prize?
I didn't.
with you?
No, it's inherently not especially good on a podcast medium.
Well, given that when we normally try to record, like you and Chris Ray are quite happy smashing keys.
Oh yeah,
bricks.
Yeah.
Bags of marbles against the microphone. Actually having a genuine medal,
to clink against some equipment.
that's the kind of audio poison I'd welcome, you know.
Well, I didn't bring it.
Next time.
Next time.
Next
sure.
time, yeah.
But I won a medal. Yes, I won an award. I went out on the basis that maybe I would win. I've been nominated for said award, which I'm sure you've talked all about. And I won one. I can't quite believe it.
So talk us through your whirlwind. What was it, like 5 days? Whirlwind.
Yeah, what was it? 4 days, 3 nights.
That's enough to sample America, I think.
Well,
I think you got a good cross section in that time.
Sure. I mean, we flew to Indianapolis, which is where the convention was, at which was the award ceremony. And on the way there, we had a stopover in Detroit, where we changed flights, and then we flew down to Indianapolis. And along the way, quite a few lovely American air hostesses and such, staff and things, were asking us, hey, where are you going? Because they realised we're Brits quite quickly. And we were like, oh, we're going to Indianapolis. And their faces would just fall. They'd just be like, oh, why? We were like, oh, that's pretty mean. I mean, it can't be that bad. Like, and when we got there, show was great. Incredibly massive convention, board games up the wazoo, RPGs, everything. It was an amazing show.
It was a Christian literature conference, wasn't it?
Correct.
Yeah.
Amen. But Indianapolis, not got a lot going for it. Not got a lot.
It's like, presumably, if you're going to Indiana,
Yeah.
it's
probably the best place in Indiana.
You would just go to Indianapolis. Like, presumably, there's nowhere else worth going.
I think so. Like,
sorry, Indiana.
I know.
Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone was saying it before I said it, and then I got there and I was like, oh, I kind of get it. It's so weird though, because I've been to New York and I lived in Atlanta for a year as a kid.
Oh yeah.
And those are cities that behave in the way that you imagine a city would. And Indianapolis is like a movie set that's trying to pretend to be a city, but when you turn a corner, there's just nothing down.
Cardboard cutouts of buildings.
It's kind of like you turn a corner and you think, oh, there'll be another street of shops, like the street of shops, the only street of shops I've seen, and there's just nothing. And yet you're still in the center, and there's skyscrapers around you, but there's like 4 skyscrapers, and it's like America has this idea of what cities have to be,
Yeah.
and so they just have to do those things. but they don't have any of the supporting gumph to go along with it.
Right, okay.
So every city is trying to be New York, but every city can't be New York. So they just are weird, empty sort of copies of it, and I don't know this is true for other cities, but this is how Indianapolis felt. It was like, oh, Indianapolis, we're an Apolis, we're like metropolis. That's a big word, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, I swear it's smaller than Cheltenham. I swear it is. But it's got more skyscrapers than Cheltenham. But it was just these weird little few streets that kind of had some big shops in them.
Yeah.
And then it was just, you walk for like 20 minutes and you're outside of it, and it's just industrial estate, car park, concrete. Just as flat as far as the eye can see. It was so weird. It was so strange. And it made me wonder whether, is this what most American cities, is this what normal America is like? But we only see the touristy bits.
Yeah, because outside your San Franciscos and your New Yorks and your Los Angeles, this is just...
Is this what... Because it's just space.
Yeah.
It's just infinite space as far as the eye can see. And because there's so much space, there's no reason to keep anything in any way sort of clustered near to each other. So the idea of a city... certainly in the UK context of a city, is like, let's bring all of these handy shops and these restaurants and things that people need.
Yeah.
Let's put them all in one place so that we can all access them. But when you've got infinite space and you've got a pickup truck that's the size of my house, and you just drive everywhere, then there's no need to keep everything near to each other. So everything just ends up like bleeding out into this puddle of just infinite environment. It's just all man-made.
Is like Indiana quite flat?
Yeah, very flat.
Right, yeah.
Noticeable from flying in as well. It's just like flat, like wild. So, yeah, so strange. So strange.
So did you what was the convention centre? Is that like right in the middle of it?
Right in the middle of the city, yeah. And insanely big. Like, everything's big. But this is like wild. Like, this is... Well, I mean, the Excel Centre's big, right, in London, but that's out of town because it's so big. So imagine something that I think was probably at least as big as the Excel Centre, but right in the centre of town. That's wild already. And it's this huge building, multi-floor. It's got all of these different rooms, but it's weirdly sort of like old-fashioned. It's got this like 70s, like blocky kind of architecture vibe to it, like brutalist architecture sort of thing. And just huge spaces inside that are all connected to. It's like a labyrinth. It's so weird. Like, really easy to get lost as well.
Yeah.
And you had to go in, and then you had to go get COVID checked. They were super hot on COVID and everything for the show. Anyway, not America in general, but for the show.
Yeah.
Had to be masked up the entire time. That's better than most of the UK at the moment. Had to prove it. And then you had to go to another place and queue up for another thing in order to get your tickets. And our tickets weren't there because they'd been moved to somewhere else. And it was a whole like half a day just to get our tickets, just to get into the show, which was wild.
I mean, you didn't get like VIP treatment or anything like that.
This is the weird thing. We did, and that was the problem. So we had free tickets, and they were looked after by the people running the awards ceremonies, the Ennies. And so the way it worked is that your tickets were stored somewhere else. We didn't realize this until we got to the front of the queue, which took about 20 minutes. And then they're like, oh no, if you're a special VIP essentially, your tickets will be in this weird room. So we're like, okay, off we go, off we go to the room, go into the room. Oh, we talked to the people in there. They're like, oh yeah, your person in charge of your group will have picked up your tickets and they'll have them. So if you just go see them. And I'm like, I'm English. Hello. I'm English. I'm English, Nick. And I don't know anything about anyone that you're talking about. I don't have a phone number. I don't know who's in charge of the Ennies. What the hell?
I haven't slept in 17 furlongs. Who am I?
Help me. I parked my foot cycle outside. Yeah, so they're just like, oh, you don't know? Do you not have a number for who's in charge of the Ennies? No, I don't have a number.
No, that would presuppose that they provided you with that information. Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, well, the Ennies have a booth in the show. And I was like, oh, right. Do I need a ticket to get into the show? And they just looked at me and they just went, yeah, you do. Yeah. And I was like, so what you're telling me is the person who has my tickets has taken them all from here and has gone into the show with them. And they're like, yeah, I think that's what's happened. Yeah. What?
In their very milquetoast defense, I would like to say this is not unique to Gen Con by the sound of it. We've had this kind of shit before.
I was saying this to Ali. I was just like, this, apparently we travel for like 11 hours across the planet and it's exactly the same bullshit as back home. Exactly the same.
Yeah.
So anyway, I had to get like essentially a sort of escort man.
In case you ran off and started having fun.
Yeah. No fun for you, British boy. And he had this face mask on that was like a sort of tube sleeve that went up from his neck right up over his face, like under his eyeballs. And it was covered in like stains and stuff. I don't know whether he'd just been forcing food through this tube sleeve.
Oh, no.
But he was really friendly. He's a lovely guy. And yeah, and he was like, I'll escort you onto the show floor and then you can go find this person.
Sure.
I don't know. And we go to, he escorts me onto the show floor. We get to the stand and they're like, no, we don't have them. And I'm like, well, what now then? Like, literally, what now? Like, what's your grand
We appear to be at
solution?
an impasse.
Yeah, this is a movable wall, like, unstoppable force situation here. So they ended up just having to create 2 random passes for Ali and I because they couldn't organise themselves in any way. And there was this top-tier man. We escalated this right to the top. And this guy could just print passes out. And he was just like, fine, I believe you. I'll just make 2 passes. And if you ever find the person who actually has your pass, can you make sure that they destroy them? Because otherwise there's extra passes in the system or something. Destroy them with fire or something, I don't know. So we did eventually get in. And it was an awesome show. Like, it was brilliant. Like, so big. Like, just... And it was frustrating in a way because we only had so much suitcase space. And I could have bought a lot more. I'm telling you now. Whew.
Well, as somebody who has a cat sat for you, it's weird because since you got back from America,
oh yes,
we've barely seen each other.
Yeah, I know.
Like,
yeah,
we've just been
life's just been
other
wild.
stuff's been going on. We haven't worked together or anything, and but we have cat. We've checked on your cat for you.
Yeah, saw more of my cat than me.
Yeah, but so I've been in your house while you've been away. So I have seen that, like, oh, Nick's got a new card game. No, there's a new card game. It's like littering various surfaces.
It's research, John.
Yeah.
It's
God, yeah.
It's very,
Yeah.
it's very important research.
Tax deductible.
Tax deductible research, my friend. But yeah, I would have. Yeah, that wild, absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Like really, really cool. Like probably if you take the biggest MCM we've ever had in the UK, and I'd say double it. That was the size of just the show floor, just the dealer show floor of Gen Con. And then there was all the extra stuff. Like, there were various brands that had their own rooms. There was, like, LARPing going on in a hotel that connected to the convention centre via a sky bridge.
Was that just a coincidence? Or
Yeah, it's always happening in Indianapolis. What I don't understand, right, is that are they actually LARPing in there? Or was it like a LARPing mini convention? Because if they're actually LARPing, right, from what I understand about LARPing, they tend to do it in fields and forests and stuff.
yeah,
Because then they can pretend that forest is like a fantasy forest in another world. But how do you pretend that a hotel foyer is another world?
I guess it depends very much on the rich narrative you're weaving.
Sure. Maybe the LARP is about hotel management, in which case this is a great place to live out that fantasy.
Yeah. Or some kind of like terrifying urban limbo, in which case Indianapolis sounds like the perfect.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Or maybe at a stretch, maybe you're all on board a starship and it kind of just looks like a hotel.
Yeah.
That could kind of work, maybe. But I did see a lot of people dressed up, and they weren't dressed like spaceship people. They were dressed like fantasy foresty people.
I
so
see.
Not sure about that one.
Well, tell us about the award ceremony itself, because that's
Yes.
what I haven't heard anything about this. So.
That was grand as all hell. I was not expecting this. I had this big fear that it was going to be this like little cupboardy side room, and it was just going to be like a box to stand on, and that I'd flown all the way around the world.
Like those kind of rooms where they often hold like panels.
Yeah,
Where it's
yeah.
literally like a as if it was like a toilet bleach
Yes.
conference or something. Yeah.
And it's like a little room, and maybe a ceiling tile's hanging off, and the carpet's all brown.
And there's one guy at the front with like a little microphone, and the projector isn't working. He's like, and the winner is for thank you coming.
So that's what I was expecting.
Yeah, but
far from it. It was another building that was adjacent to the convention center. It was an old, like, train station. I say old as something can be in America. Basically, the oldest a building can be in America, which is probably like what 200 years old.
I think I said 2 years.
2 years
Yeah,
old, maybe
2
less.
years, yeah.
But it was incredible. It was like a cathedral. It was like
Wow.
like a nave. It had this huge circular kind of semi-stained glass window at the front. It literally did feel like a cathedral, except for the fact that you could also tell it was once a train station.
Wow.
And it had these. It was like it was so much more like a church, like 2 huge banks of seats with a central aisle down the middle.
A church of game.
A game church.
A
if you
game
will.
church.
Yeah. D&D is my Bible. Probably about 500, 600 people able to sit there. They had a bar at one end, which was just part of the building, but they had sort of completely
Wow.
taken over it, and they were selling like cocktails that were themed around different things. And yeah, there was this huge mingling part at the beginning, though I didn't really mingle because I didn't know anyone at all. So I didn't know whether
And
that
they
guy
didn't
was...
know that
No.
they were in the presence of greatness.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
This is the kind of weird thing, is that like I looked like just a weird guy who was just there, like I always do when I'm anywhere, you know. And then when I got announced, I guess there might have been this moment where it's like, oh, that's who that weird guy is. Like he made a thing, I guess. But yeah, so the event started, and like there was speeches on stage, and there were these special tables at the front where all these big publishers could like put their staff. So like some of the big publishers were like partners of the event or sponsors of it. So you had like Modifius and Chaosium, like two big RPG publishers.
That's got to burn, hasn't it? Oh, yeah. Do you have to walk right past them?
Oh, yeah,
to accept it?
yeah. And they did win some awards. Like they were up for a few.
Oh, that's cute. Yeah,
it's cute, isn't it?
What
Yeah.
did you win again?
I won Best Rules.
That's fun. Yeah. yeah.
For games, that's kind of
Games,
a big deal.
yeah. That's like best actor, really, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, you know, I didn't want to say it myself, but
Yeah.
the weird thing is that I have a very low opinion of myself, as you know, and
And rightly so.
yes, and let's keep it that way.
Dickhead.
Thank you for putting me in my place. And I didn't think I was going to win anything, but I thought it'd be worth it to go. But I thought that there's one category I might win. It's best cover art.
I thought you would. Chris Ray and I were reckoned you'd probably come back with one or two.
Did you really? Well, thank you.
You weren't going to come back empty-handed.
I was pretty sure I was.
but like you, I thought you had a pretty good chance for best cover artwork.
Yeah, and my reasoning for this was that it's basically a popularity contest because I got chosen by the judges, but then public voted on the final results. Nobody knows what my game is. No one's ever heard of it.
But they can make a snap judgment.
But they can make a snap judgment on covers because they're there on the website. There's a cover gallery, and you can just be like, I don't know what Colossal is, but I like the look of that, so bam. I didn't think it was a better cover, but I thought there's a chance that some people might. So that's why I thought I might win. Of all of my nominations, that was the first one to come up, and I didn't win it. And so instantly my heart sank. I was like, well, I'm not winning anything then. That's the one I was going to win. I know I'm never going to, and I realized at this point that the reason I'd been thinking I was going to be in a cupboard and I was just going to be stood on a yellow pages or something was because I thought this industry was small. That was very, very stupid because this industry is huge.
Yeah.
Like games is massive, but RPGs is fucking massive as well. Like within that, it's wild how big this is. And I was like, well, I'm definitely not going to win. Nobody knows who the fuck I am. No one's ever played my game. There's all these big shots sat at tables, clinking glasses and talking about the last 17 awards they won year on year. You know what I mean? It's like this huge event. It was like being an imposter at the Oscars. It felt a bit like
Were you
that.
sitting at a table or in like a kind of auditorium?
No, I was just sat where the public sit, just in a row of seats,
Yeah.
but quite close to the front because when we arrived so early, there was just no one there. So Ali and I just took a really close space because we thought, well, what can happen if someone will kick us out? And we actually ended up being sat next to another nominee of another game and she ended up winning 2 awards as well, which was really cool. But yeah, so I was just like completely convinced that I was like massively in the wrong place. Like this is massive and I'm never going to win anything. And so I thought, well, just to keep myself going, just a bit of hope. I'll hope for maybe a silver because each award had a silver and a gold.
Oh, sure. Right,
Yeah. So I was like, well, maybe I'll win a silver any. Maybe I'll come home with it. And I started to realize that I wanted to come home with something and that I would feel disappointed if I didn't. And then Best Rules came up and silver was announced and it wasn't me. And I was like, well, that's another one out of the way. I'm not going to get gold. And then they said my name and I was just like, what the fuck? Like I was genuinely not expecting to hear my name. To the extent that everything I'd planned as a kind of speech, as it were, just fell out of my head instantly. I was just like, I just wandered up and she just put the medal around my neck and handed me the certificate. And then I was in front of a microphone, just looking out into this colossal room, just like, oh yeah, what the fuck was I going to say? And as a result, my speech, if you could even call it that, is an incredibly like bumbly, like just sort of overwhelmed, like I can't believe I'm here, like stuff like that. That I was looking at the judges and the hosts and everything, and they're just like nodding, like thumbs up, like yeah, you're doing great, this little English boy. And I was just like, I'm just happy to thank you so much to everyone and all this. And then I was just like, run, just ran off the stage and went back. But as I was walking back, all these people were standing up out their seats and high fiving me as I walked back and stuff, which they were kind of doing for everyone.
Yeah.
But I think there was kind of a sense of like a lot of these big publishers had cleaned up a lot of these awards. There was this one guy from this one publisher who just kept getting up, and he hadn't worked on any of the games, but he was the guy who represented the company. Of course, yeah. So he had like 6 medals around his neck, and I think everyone was kind of getting bored of him constantly coming up on stage.
Yeah,
because it's like, yeah, big companies, okay, woo, you know. But then someone they've never even seen before, of a game they've never heard of before, I win an award. Not only that, but I win a gold. And I think everyone was kind of like, hey, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, stick it to the man.
Yeah. So yeah, it was unbelievable. And then after that, I had all sorts of people coming up to me afterwards, including some of the big guys sat at the tables at the front, who, of course, now suddenly they care about me. Now I'm not just some random weirdo, long-haired British boy in the corner. I'm now someone who won a gold. And so they're shaking my hand. Oh, how long? How was your journey? Where have you come from? Oh, I know Cheltenham. Do you? I'm sure you do. Yeah. So no, it was. I've never nothing like it. Never experienced a single thing like it. But it was awesome. It was really, really cool. Yeah. And now I have a gold medal, which has got dragons on it, for fuck's sake, which is cool.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I don't think there's many medals.
Probably
not many medals that have dragons.
I know, exactly. Yeah.
No.
So all round. And then after I got the award, I was like, now it all feels worth it. And I was telling myself, I don't need it. I don't need it.
But sometimes a win is a win.
I know.
And it's very
and
rare.
I don't ever win shit. I never win anything.
Yeah.
And to actually, the nominations were incredible. 6 nominations is outstanding. And the most nominated game in this year's Ennies, which is super, super cool. But to actually win just one is all I needed. Genuinely, one is all I needed. Just to know that I came away with something.
Yeah.
And that it wasn't just some weird fluke, or it wasn't just the judges, but also there was a part to this all that people agreed with.
Yeah.
And that's wild. Yeah. So.
Do you remember when the nominations came out and you did some Googling and you found that YouTube video?
Oh, yeah.
So we can't remember the name. The name's irrelevant, but some random guy on YouTube who was keeping abreast of the gaming news.
Yes, he's got a little YouTube channel about RPGs and RPG news.
And my read on it, as you described it to me, was he was looking down the nominee list and was like, Colossal.
What's this?
By Nich Angel.
This one keeps coming up.
So,
what's this all about?
Yeah, had a look at it. Very dismissive.
Very dismissive.
Well, this is some scheming universe bullshit. And
that's what he said. Yeah, which is wild. He also really wanted Call of Cthulhu to win some awards because they haven't. They're the little guys.
That game's only existed for 20 years. I think it's due.
They could just do with a little bit of a leg up. A little bit of help. A little bit. They did win. And I realised as well that another category that I was really hoping to win an award in was best setting, because in many ways Colossal setting is kind of a big part of what it was. And I was like, maybe that's another one.
Oh, fuck off. Don't tell me they won best setting.
Not Call of Cthulhu. No, Critical Role. I would never stood a chance, did I? Critical Role were in that category. They had a setting book that allowed you to play in the world of Critical Role in Dungeons and Dragons.
They have to be fair, I've never listened, but I understand they have a load of different settings.
Yeah, well, yes, indeed. Yeah. I think this is just one of their many worlds. Yeah. But it's like an atlas and a setting book that contains everything you need to play in that world. And it's like, I didn't notice when I was looking at the nominees that I was up against Critical Role.
That's a really tough one because, is it the best setting?
But this is the thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because it's a world with a continent and an ocean.
Yeah, but it's a D&D fantasy world. It's not like...
swords and sorcery.
Yeah, it's not earth-shatteringly different.
No. And I'm not necessarily trying to say mine is, but it's definitely more different.
No, it is. It is. There's nothing like Colossal.
Mine's a weird, massive castle that's infinite in every direction, and the rooms are so big there are cities and continents inside the rings.
It's weird as hell.
Yeah, it is weird. And I would have thought it was at least a bit more weird and interesting than another continent full of magic and elves and stuff. But everyone knows Critical Role, don't they? So this boils down to the proof of it being something of a popularity contest, which I don't mind. Because if anything, it adds more weight and credence to my win. Because despite all of that, I still actually won something, which is wild.
But it'd be like someone bringing out for example, a Man United Football Club RPG. Which becomes massively popular.
Yeah.
And then that winning best setting because it's a very popular game.
Yes, 100%. That's exactly what we're talking about.
I'm not saying it's a bad game. It could be a brilliant game.
It's probably brilliant.
And Man United is clearly a very popular football club. But it's like, well, guys, come on. It's not...
There doesn't seem to be much... among some people, certainly some of the voters, much of an understanding of hey, let's embrace a new thing.
Yeah.
It's instead hey, let's support something I know. And case in point being this guy going, sure hope Call of Cthulhu wins some awards. It's like, dude, they've won probably every year for the last 10 years.
And also, let's talk about market penetration. Call of Cthulhu is
doing fine.
It's everywhere. Yeah.
That's another thing as well, actually. This could be a hate, but it's not big enough, really. There were about 3 different games with Cthulhu in the name in the awards alone.
Yeah, well, let's talk about setting then, because it's also Lovecraft's dead, and also kind of like a horrible racist. So,
really bad guy.
We can pillage that shit.
Yeah.
And no one feels bad about it.
Isn't it weird? It's like probably one of the only most recognizable IPs in the world that is now copyright free.
Yeah.
So tomorrow I could make a Cthulhu game and no lawyer would come after me because there's no one defending that estate anymore.
But it'd be like everyone turning up and it's like there's 4 games entered that are all Sherlock Holmes
Yeah.
based.
Is that open source as well? Like open,
Yeah, that's in the public domain.
Right, there
Yeah,
you go. Yeah.
yeah.
So yeah, that could happen. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
And it's also like, I don't know, there's a big audience for Lovecraft.
There is.
It's like, I feel you're kind of like plugging.
It's the cat at the door.
I think the cat is at the door.
You're not welcome on this podcast.
Bradley, stay out.
You know what your opinions do. The last time we let you on, still scratching.
He's a big fan of Lovecraft, that cat.
Yeah. Well, he does have the wrong number of eyes. Oh.
Bradley, it's fine.
Please leave.
We're recording a podcast to a moderately sized audience.
He understands.
He gets it.
Yeah, he gets it.
Well, Bradley, no.
Enough.
Anyway, I think I speak on behalf of myself, the entire audience, and possibly Chris Ray.
Possibly.
We're very happy for you, and it's
Thank
very well deserved.
Thank you very much. That's very kind. Thank you. Appreciate it. And thank you for letting me talk about it, because I don't think I've really talked about it.
No,
much
for
to
God's sake,
anyone,
no,
so-
I haven't heard about it. Yeah, get it out there. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
So
good.
did you like party all night long then?
No, if there was an after party, I wasn't invited, and I didn't know it existed. It was very much front loaded. There was a lot of cocktails at the beginning, and I guess mingling. But of course, I didn't know anybody, so I had cocktails, and I mingled with Ali, who I know quite well. But yeah, to be honest, at that point, I was so like completely like just exhausted from emotions that I was just happy to fall asleep, and I never really got my clock back. I never got my clock into American like time zones. And then I was just exhausted the entire time.
So when you arrived home,
yeah,
was jet lag like non-existent?
It was there. It was there because I think I'd been somewhat forced to be slightly out of sync.
Yeah.
But I'd just been sleeping at night in America because I was tired, not because I was in any sort of pattern.
Yeah.
And so then I think when I got home, I was still just incredibly tired, but also slightly jet lagged as well. But I didn't sleep very well on the plane because you don't sleep well on planes.
No.
So I did watch The Green Knight, though. It was quite an interesting film. Yeah, weird, but interesting.
I guess it's kind of hard to sleep with like your gold medal in your mouth as well.
Well, this is the thing.
Yeah.
It's,
I guess
there's no holes in it. So I can't breathe through it.
It's like when you've won and you're kind of like standing with like all these like big players, and you've got like your like Mai Tai cocktail or something, and you're like, gosh, I finally made it. I'm around all these people, and you just kind of dunk your medal in, and then just start sucking the juice off your medal.
They all just look.
I'm like, what? Do we not do this? Is it?
And then they all get their medals and dunk it like,
hey!
He's a new boy. Let's haze him.
He gets it. I know it's like almost like a Pavlovian thing. It's like I just reached out and grabbed this third beer.
You should have it. I've got a third of a beer left. So you crack on.
You sure? I've had a long day. I don't have a medal.
You deserved it, and you also got chili in your eye. So
thank you. Yeah.
We should probably do the podcast.
Yeah, I guess we should. Oh yeah, that's why we're here. Yeah. I've got hate.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not chili in your eye, is it? Because I can understand if it is.
No, although it could have been, and it's got a waterlogged phone, and it could have been. I hate something I saw on my run.
Oh.
Which is I've been thinking about a lot since.
Okay.
I hate twee as hell British movies.
Okay.
Because as I was running,
Yeah.
I saw a lot of posters around town
Oh.
on like bus stops and stuff.
Yep.
For a new movie, a real movie, which is coming out in cinemas, made by adults and marketed to adults, called Fisherman's Friends.
I knew you were going to
2.
say it. I knew you were going to say it because I've seen it everywhere as well.
And it's not called like All for One. It's called like All and
More for Men and One.
All and One.
Is that something like that?
Fisherman's Friend 2.
Electric Boogaloo.
And
I've seen the trailer for this film.
have you?
And it's in every bit as twee and every bit as exactly what you're expecting it to be. In every way.
I Googled it to find out more. And I saw one headline that made me chuckle where someone said, it books for corn in Cornwall, which I thought was quite good.
That is quite good, yeah.
But no, so one can only imagine this is a sequel to Fisherman's Friend.
Fisherman's Friends.
1.
Fisherman's Friends. Yes.
Yeah.
Which I vaguely am aware of existing.
Yeah.
Vaguely.
So I believe the story. Now you've seen the trailer, but I believe the entire plot of this franchise, because now there's 2 movies.
It's a franchise now.
It's up there with Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yep. That's
is
true, actually, yeah.
based on the real life story of how a group of fishermen from Cornwall
Yes.
who had a male voice choir.
They sang like sea shanties and shit.
Yes.
Yeah. Realised, oh, we kind of have a good voice.
And got a record deal.
Yes.
So I haven't seen Fisherman's Friend 1,
Okay.
but I would say to myself, oh, I imagine that this is the heartwarming tale of how that came to be. But then I also thought, literally a split second later, oh, when they signed the record deal to have their record deal, they probably also signed a film deal.
So you think actually there's the real band are the same people?
No.
Right. Fine.
No.
Oh,
but,
I see. Sorry. So there's a licensing.
yeah, I
thing
literally
happening.
think that as much as the final act revelation, one would imagine, of the first film is that you got a film. Guys, I've got Hollywood on the phone. You've got a record deal. We can save the village hall.
Yes.
It's because,
We can save old Daisy, the fishing boat. She's got a hole in her, but she still sails true, so she does.
the end. Walking on sunshine, and great, fine. And everyone would go, wow, what a heartwarming story. I can't believe they made a movie about it. It's like, I fucking can. Because I'd almost guarantee that it's the most meta shit in the world. Some executive went, oh, so these cutesy, like, fisherman singers, ooh, this is a rags to riches story.
Ooh.
We can market the fuck out of this. Let's give them a record deal just so we can make the life-affirming Daily Mail
So it's
Tea
almost
and
like
Crumpets movie of it.
They made the band purely so that they could tell the story of making the band
The whole
in
thing,
a movie.
I would argue the whole thing is cynical as hell.
Yep, agreed.
And it is packaged as the most kind of rosy-cheeked. It's something that I think, like,
Rosy-cheeked is such a good phrase.
as far as I'm aware, that like only maybe other countries do it, but it's a very British
No,
thing.
it is. And it's something I was going to say. There's a certain breed of film, and this falls squarely into this film.
Yeah.
Which, are, as far as I'm aware, only British
Yeah,
film creators make.
because you could say that like Hollywood is making films kind of for an international audience, but
On a grander scale.
yeah,
Yeah.
kind of really for a certain audience,
Yeah.
But they're thinking beyond a certain thing.
Certainly.
And then I would argue there's probably movies in, say, America which come out, which maybe don't get that wider reach.
Yes.
But they are, I would say, quintessentially American films.
Yeah. I'll
So
accept that.
So you might get like an American movie which is like the equivalent of this shit.
Yeah.
Which is like, it'd be very patriotic, it'd be very proud, it would be like...
Yeah, I'm trying to think of an example, but yes.
I'm trying to think of the things that like... I'm working in broad stereotypes here.
But so is this industry.
But I'm saying, like, yeah, this broad stereotype of a movie, just for an American audience, would be probably flying a flag, something very brave, the noble spirit of America.
Yeah.
And then the British counterpart, because we don't have Hollywood,
No.
So when
We've got Pinewood.
when we make a homegrown movie, it's not flag flying, it's not any of this kind of stuff. It's very much just twee.
We've got to export what I think British culture may think is the only export we have, which is Britishness. And that is inherently a problem, because if you don't have anything, if you don't have a culture, then how are you supposed to sell the world on a British culture?
But also, like,
you've got to make it up. You've got to create a culture that actually none of us live. It's that twee chocolate box cottage story about a rags to riches town hall kind of thing. You've got to do that.
Oh my god, yeah, there was one like a couple of years ago. You're suddenly just bringing it to me because you're joking about like, oh, saving the village hall.
Yeah.
I swear, literally, there was some movie where the plot came out, British movie, and the plot was that some village hall, some village cinema was going under.
Yes.
And they wrote to Steven Spielberg to ask permission to screen like Jaws or something like that.
Very
this is a real world thing that happened, and now they made a movie about it.
Yeah.
There's a plot of every damn movie.
It's like Calendar Girls.
Yes,
that's like a British staple movie about what was it? The Women's Institute. Trying to raise money to save
a village hall,
probably, and they do a nudie calendar,
yes,
but tastefully nudie,
based on a true story.
Yeah, again, but of course it is because so's Fisherman's Friend. Like, it's kind of ostensibly based on a true story.
Oh Jesus,
so's Harry Potter for fuck's
I've suddenly just thought of another one. There was another one based on a true story, and it was about
a boy wizard.
No, it was about like a bunch of women whose husbands were all serving in the military
and
were in like Iraq or Afghanistan or something.
Vaguely remember this.
And so they formed a choir.
Yes,
And it was called something really on the nose, like literally like
war choir.
I was going to say like military wives. But like, yeah,
I think or the military wives' voices or something. Yeah. But there is that, isn't there? There actually is a choir of military
because
wives.
that happened.
Because it's a true story.
So then they just make this boilerplate movie.
Yeah, it's easy
About it. What's the plot? Oh, I don't know. It writes itself, doesn't it?
Well, here we go. So I've seen the trailer, right? So let me explain that Fisherman's Friends 1 is exactly as you predicted, or at least I think this is, based on what I've seen of 2, right? The whole story of the first movie is that they are some unknown fishermen who have great voices, and it's their story of
being... Are they
being
struggling because of the fishing industry?
I think so. They're certainly not making a lot of money.
Not making a lot of
They're
money.
not living a rich
Not
life.
in rural Cornwall.
Lol. Is anyone? And the story is it drives to a peak and a climax, which is them getting signed, with trials and tribulations along the way, right?
Yes.
So, what do you think 2 is about? Bearing in mind that 1 ends with them a success. They've done it. They've made it. They're now internationally renowned.
On a broad level, I'd say... Because you've got to fill 90 minutes.
Exactly. This is the thing.
It's not... Because nobody wants to make this movie.
No.
But...
Certainly not the actors or the storytellers or
But
the
an
director.
accountant works out that if they do make it...
It will make some money. Millions.
Money. They'll make a couple of million.
Yeah.
Which is quite small fry.
But good
nowadays.
for the UK.
Yeah.
At the moment, certainly.
So...
We need it.
If I had to fill 90 minutes, I'd be like...
We've got to bring them back down. At the moment, they're at the top of their game.
Well, I say like broad strokes would be they're struggling with fame. Possibly they're now touring, which is driving a rift between them and their families. Maybe they're feeling like certain pressures. There'd be a falling out and someone would leave the band.
Fucking nailed it. Literally, genuinely nailed it.
Because a classic sequel is also just like do the same thing again, but in a different location.
100%.
So where would they go? I want to say like America or something. Like they go to...
I think they do go somewhere else.
Yeah.
The key thing, which you're so close to getting, but you've just missed, is the fact that they are forced by their record label to do stuff slightly out of character.
Oh, God. Yeah,
of course they are.
Of course.
So they're dressing up in ways that they don't want to dress up. They're losing their connection.
They're losing what made them.
Their true identity.
Their true identity.
Which is singing about fish, right?
Yeah.
That's really what it was all about. The fish women that they used to love out of the sea. The trout ladies that they used to love. The trout ladies.
Fuck me sideways. And the final act would have to be them doing it their way.
Going back to their roots.
Yeah.
And you know what they do? They do a little gig, and they do it in Cornwall in the village hall that they probably are trying to save all along.
And people turn up and cheer. The whole village
turns out, and it's not many people, but it's all the people they wanted.
Yeah.
100%. That's it. That is the story. Because the trailer tells you everything, right down to the end and how it ends. They lose a member, and I can't remember whether it's because he quits, but there's definitely arguments. There's drama. They lose a member, but I think they might die, actually. And then they replace him with an unlikely lad who seems as though he's no good for the band, but actually turns out to be great.
Okay, but the thing is also, you got to have an ensemble cast, haven't you?
Oh, 100%.
And the great thing about a choir, because we've described 2 movies that actually exist about British choirs.
So true.
You'd have to have... It's great because it gives you like a big cast of characters. I'm thinking like... There'll be someone who's really old. The joke will be that they're really old.
Yeah, I think that's true.
There'll be like a couple of comedic reliefs.
I was going to say, is there a pair in the group?
Yes,
that bounce off
the
of
likely
each other?
lads.
The daft couple of lads.
And then the head of the choir, be it Fisherman's Choir or the Military Wives Choir.
Fuck, so hot.
But in a kind of
bring home to your mum sort of way.
Yeah, I was going to say in a bit of a. Wait, it's got to be for the slightly older audience.
He's a Gerard Butler kind of guy.
Yeah,
so he's Gerard Butler, but maybe in his 40s, and he's got a beard, bit of salt and pepper in his beard.
That beard.
But he's got a high-necked, like woolly jumper on.
Yeah, he's like
He's the guy that middle-aged women dream about when they go to sleep.
He's the mid-2010s interpretation of Captain Birdseye, where he got a bit sexy.
Young Birdseye.
Young Birdseye.
Young, but not too young Birdseye.
Not too young. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Fitty Birdseye.
It's like Ocean's 11.
Yeah,
but as a choir.
It's what Clooney is, but like accessible Clooney, like Clooney who might live down the road and actually sings in the local choir, and all the ladies swoon over him.
You've got to have
and me.
There's probably one member of a band who's much younger than all the others.
Oh, I think he's the replacement guy. He's like a young buck, and he's not a fisherman or something. He doesn't have the history that they all have.
He ate a fish once.
Yeah, he fucked a fish once. He ate and then fucked a fish.
Sure, he can sing, lags, but can he fish? And then he cuts to him and he's playing like one of those little. He's got like this little like magnet.
Magnet games, yeah, the little mouths that close. Fuck me, he can fish as well. Oh, when I was playing the magnet game, and he can sing.
Yeah,
yeah.
I reckon there is at least one scene where the band is at their lowest ebb, and they're probably sitting around, all looking in different directions. Being very forlorn, and then one guy will start singing a sad and mournful tune.
I honestly, genuinely think that's in the trailer. I actually think that's in the trailer.
And he'll sing 4 lines.
and then they'll all join in.
And then someone else will join in,
Yeah. And the only time I tolerate that is when the dwarves sing in like Lord of the Rings. That's the only time I'll allow that. Yeah, I'm with you. Like, but it's not just like Fisherman's Friend 2, which we are ragging on right now. But it's that breed of British twee movie.
Yeah,
that feels like all it's doing is creating an export.
Yeah,
for the world to have an idea of what Britain is, and that's the only purpose they're serving. Because these stories, like we've just proven, are so formulaic and so predictable that no one woke up with this light bulb inspiration moment of like, I have to tell the story of Fisherman's Friend 2. Like you say, they wanted to make that movie because it would make money. The story was told. They'd made it. They'd made their big break. The very fact that they have to break them down to bring them back up again proves that there isn't a story to be told. Because if all your sequel consists of is having to take apart everything you created in film 1, if only to just pull it back together again, then you don't have a story.
But also, like, it's almost inevitable they'll do a third one.
Oh, now it'll have to be a trilogy.
But here's the thing, but it will be the first movie, generic paint-by-numbers bullshit. The second one, you just engineer some crap.
But I can almost tolerate the first one.
Yeah.
It's the second one I almost have a bigger issue with. Yeah.
You engineer some crap, but once you've got 2 out the gate...
Here's the big question.
Then you do the third one, and the third one writes itself again, because now it's the epic conclusion of the saga. A saga of nothing and wankery.
Yeah. It's not a saga. It's the same way of saying, like, the Skywalker saga was a saga, as if to say that this one grand story was planned across 9 films. No, because there's so many things that happen in those films that are like, well, if this was truly one story, why are we seeing this bit?
Yeah, because it's like they're writing it on an Etch-a-Sketch between movies. Yeah.
And if it was a Skywalker saga, then literally every scene would be relevant to the Skywalkers, which of course it isn't. So it would be better if they just admitted that all those films were basically essentially unrelated. That would have been far, far better. I'm only blasting Star Wars because Chris isn't here. But
well, you're only blasting Star Wars because it deserves it.
Because it's easy.
Yeah. But like, I think also the thing, there's also like a lot of these movies are very much like these quintessentially British movies are about kind of like affirming a status quo. Because it's funny that like we joke about like, oh, they've got to save the village hall. That's like the plot of every one of these movies.
Yeah, it really is.
The community's got to rally together to save the village hall. Fisherman's Friend. Oh, all these fishermen can't support themselves anymore. Like the fishing industry is falling apart. The military wives choir. You know, I guarantee there's at least one woman in that ensemble cast who can't make ends meet because her husband is away at war and she's got like a young kid. And nobody at any point raises her finger and goes, hang on a minute, what the fuck is up with our social care in this country where we can't support these people? And what the fuck is up with our industry where this small coastal town is dying?
That's so true. Why are we forming a major part of our country's identity around the fact that we can't cope?
Yeah, but hey,
because it's true.
But it doesn't fucking matter because they had a whip around, didn't they?
They had a little whip around, didn't they? Just like they did for Major Tom.
Yeah.
With the NHS.
And the WI got a few pennies together.
Yeah, with their nudie calendar.
And they kept the village all open for maybe another year.
Maybe less.
And then we've got to do it again, haven't we? You know,
but get naked again, ladies.
Don't do a charity run. Storm the Capitol, for God's sake.
Yeah. Let's get to the core of this issue.
Yeah, let's get some proper reform.
I want an Avengers Endgame style team-up film where all of these fuckers who have all had to fight for their village halls stand up and go, you know what, let's raise the House of Commons to the ground.
You want to see Calendar Girls for Fisherman's Friends and the Military Wives Choir marching on
the House of Commons, just smashing Big Ben to fucking pieces. That's what I want to see.
And also, like, to our international audience, like, Fisherman's Friend is the name of a mint.
And I don't know, like,
Would anyone else get
Did the band
that?
name themselves after the mint?
I have to assume
I
they
have
did.
to assume they did.
But that's not an international suite,
No.
surely.
But I guess to them it sounds twee, doesn't it? It's Fisherman's Friend.
Yeah.
Ooh.
But also, like, I used to see as a kid adverts for Fisherman's Friend.
Yeah.
The idea being that as a child, so in 1992, say, you know, it's like, oh, there are enough fishermen in the UK in 1992 watching commercial television on a Saturday morning where they need to be regularly advertised to buy a really strong mint
It's really strong.
that they can suck on while they're trying to bring in, like, you know, a quarter ton of eel. Like, that's the marketing strategy of Fisherman's Friend.
I had one the other day, actually.
Did you
Fairly
really?
recently, in the last 2 weeks. I
Why?
had one. Someone offered me one. I was like, yeah, right.
Where? Were you on the prow of a ship? What?
I was an old Daisy, I was, and she was holding fast against the tides.
We were bringing in, like, Toothy Dan, the narwhal, which
No
has
one's
haunted
caught
the
Toothy
Bristol
Dan.
Channel.
They said he was uncatchable, they did.
Man of a pipe. I done seen him once.
You didn't see him, old Roger, I tell you.
Fuck off, old Roger.
You're a liar, Roger. You're a fucking liar.
You've been on the old PCP again, Roger.
Maybe.
So, genuinely, you ate a Fisherman's Friend?
Yeah.
What's it like?
Really, really strong.
Wow.
Actually. Yeah, like potent. And because they're brown, which is weird.
It's great, yeah.
It's great, yeah.
Yeah.
And they flatten gradually. They're like an oval, like a sort of extruded oval, and gradually flatten until they're like really molecular thin, like a plectrum almost in your mouth.
You're still sucking on it.
Oh, I'm still sucking on it, and it's
And
still
it's-
powerful. Like
Wow.
cleaning out your tubes, kind of powerful.
So did that help with the trench foot and hypothermia?
Not at all.
No.
No. If anything,
Wow.
it made it much
Yeah.
worse. I put one in my boot as well. It did nothing.
It's like me with, oh gosh, I'm freezing to death on the boat of this ship as I'm trying to track down, what do I call him, like Toothy Dan?
Yeah, Toothy Dan.
Toothy Dan.
Yeah, the
And
only narwhal with a full mouth of human teeth.
But hang on a minute, let me put a drop of chili in my eye. That'll warm me up.
Yeah,
How do you feel? Awful.
really bad.
This is much worse.
Yeah, this is why I'm wearing an eye patch.
Yeah.
But hell, what a fisherman. What a guy. He could bring it in with one eye. He could bring in a catch with one eye. He could.
God, can he sing? His rendition of Blurred Lines as we hear.
Yeah, Robin Thicke did start out as a fisherman, I think. Yeah, he's got that look. You don't have the look. I don't think I do either.
No,
but neither
no.
of us could be fishermen. I
No.
don't think. No, you
No.
have to have a look.
No. I think you just got to be weathered.
I've got a jumper that is like a thick woolen jumper that's coming apart at the seams. Brilliant fisherman jumper.
Yeah.
But I'm not weathered enough.
You have to, like, it's one
I'd
thing
like to be more weathered.
It's one thing to wear like a big woolen jumper.
Yeah.
But you actually have to be drenched in salt water.
Yes.
Like all the time.
Yes, indeed, and fish piss. Which is 50% of the sea, actually.
Anyway, that's my hate.
I agree with it. Yeah.
Thank you.
My hate is a lot less in depth. My hate is something I've come to call simultaneous walking, right? And the concept of this is, right, picture this, right? You're walking down the street, minding your own business. Maybe you've got a decent pace on because you walk at a decent human being sort of pace, right? And up ahead, you see a stranger and he's bent down, he's tying his shoelace. And you think to yourself, I sure hope that he doesn't stand up,
Oh, no.
having just finished tying his shoelace, the instant I am parallel with him.
Yeah.
And then matches my pace perfectly to the point that we're now, I guess, best friends now, because that happens a lot. And I square the blame solely at these people who are just completely oblivious, because all you had to do, let's say you finish tying your shoelace, let's say it's the roles are reversed and I'm tying my shoelace.
Sure.
I finish tying my shoelace. I look up.
Oh,
Just to see.
Here comes somebody.
Oh, here comes somebody. He's almost parallel with me. You know what I'll do? I'm going to wait for like I don't know, a
millisecond,
second and a half,
literally a
like,
fraction.
maybe not even that, just so they get on their way, because otherwise I'm going to be walking alongside a complete stranger, and then what? Socially, then what?
Yeah.
Because I've done this before, right? This happened the other day. I was walking along, someone was tying a shoelace. They stood up and started walking at the exact same pace as me as I passed them. And now I'm just like,
What?
and then they looked at me as if to like, fucking weirdo. And it's like, you did this. I was just walking. I was just going about my business. You did this. This is you. What? Like, do I talk? Or do I like slow down? Do I pretend? Like, what I ended up doing is I got my phone out and pretended that I was now looking at a text which didn't exist.
Yeah.
And that was an excuse to slow my pace, because I was like, oh, I'm suddenly concentrating on my phone. And so then a distance appeared between us.
Because what do? You either like, you either just stop.
Yeah.
Which is weird, and then start walking again.
And they're just going to turn around and look over the shoulder at you like, what the fuck was that?
Or
That's
you
weird.
like accelerate, like you jog for a few paces and then...
But I already, like, when I'm not walking with anyone, I'm already walking quite fast, because if I'm not walking with anyone, I'm not enjoying the walk. I'm literally trying to get somewhere.
Yeah.
So I'm usually walking at my maximum comfortable walking pace. If I have to go any faster than that, I'm going to have to break into a jog of some kind, which is going to look insane.
Yeah.
Particularly if we're going the same way and he can just watch me jogging off into the distance. Like, it's just mind-blowing to me. It's like another one of those things that we've talked about on this show before, about like just being a bit more aware of your surroundings.
Yeah.
And it's like, you could just hold on a second and not walk with me like we're best friends now. I don't know what to do. Like one time it happened, and it was a family with it was like a mum, her daughter, and then her daughter had a pram with her daughter in, I presume. So all the generations.
And they're all tying their shoelaces.
Yeah,
at the
they
same
were,
time,
even the baby, yeah. And I think they were just fiddling around with the pram. And then as I came close, they started walking with me. So now I'm part of the family, I guess. Now it's like, hey, I'm part of, what's your name? The Joneses. I'm Nick Jones.
I just don't understand how you can have so little peripheral vision.
Yeah.
To have any awareness.
No, I know, just to let that happen.
You see, like, there's like the phenomenon of synchronization. Like, they've done experiments, and I've seen them, and it's not even an experiment, it's just a known thing.
Yeah.
If you have a bunch of metronomes like next to each other,
and they're all just randomly set.
Yeah. Wait a bit, they will synchronize.
Yeah.
Like the subtle shifting of weight.
It's wild.
So there are human metronomes out there. Just adrift in this slew of chaos, and then you're just striding past them, and they need something to latch onto.
Maybe I'm the asshole. Because,
maybe you are,
because maybe what
for existing.
Yeah. But maybe what they represent is a fundamental human natural instinct of synchronization, of combination, of let's all walk together. Let's go through this tough and meaningless existence, but we'll do it hand in hand. And I'm the one who just goes, fuck off. Just leave me alone. I just want to walk on my... I don't know who you are. I'm not going to... It's so weird. And seemingly, all the people I've ever done it with, who are now, of course, best friends and will be invited to my... I don't know...
Because you can't escape them.
You can't escape
They're
them.
waiting outside.
Yeah, but all of them have been basically completely fine with it. There was that one time that a guy just looked at me and said, that's a bit weird. What are you doing, mate? But most of the time, they're just like, yeah, they're just walking alongside me. Like, what? How are you okay with this? Like, this is so... all I'm thinking about now is you next to me right here. I'm like looking at you every 4 seconds, like over my shoulder.
This is horrifying.
It's awful. It's so bad. And it happens to me all the time. Like, do people just want to walk with me? Is that what it is? Are they just waiting to just... Because they look at me and like, this is my guy today. I'm going to walk with him today. This is my walking buddy. I'm going to walk with him. But I almost immediately do something like cross the road. Cross the road's a good one, if you can.
Yeah.
Just make it look like, I've changed my routes before. Like, it has happened to me. It's probably happened to me like 5 times in my recent memory.
Do you suspect that is there something particularly magnetic about you, which is drawing these aimless?
I mean, probably. Yeah,
people
that's
to
probably
you.
what it is, isn't it? I am powerfully magnetic.
Yeah, I guess you are wearing your medal in these scenarios.
Oh, and it's in my mouth as well.
You've got like a bag of sherbet in your mouth.
Yeah, this has only happened since I got my medal, so it's only been a week. It's so annoying. There's nothing more to say about it, really. It's just fucking annoying.
No.
Right?
I mean, it sounds horrendous. Like, I've been obviously running a lot lately, and
so your running is great. You can overtake people,
which is true. It's not quite the same. I just wish I didn't have to overtake people. It's like I feel this is like it kind of goes hand in hand. It's this general lack of awareness, but running along a pavement and maybe there's like a classic example just the other day, like a family walking towards you, like a couple of parents, a couple of kids, taking up the whole pavement. They see you coming. Like, we've got a long run up here, people.
Yeah.
I know we've made eye contact. So it's like,
are you going to?
I mean, there's one of me, there's four of you, like sheer collective body mass. Like, I feel you're imposing here.
Yeah.
Okay. So no, I'm getting closer now. Oh, it's a bit awkward.
Ooh.
I know. Oh, okay. You're not moving. I guess I'll it's all right.
To the road.
I'll hop into the traffic.
Yeah.
Don't mind me. It's
No.
fine. No, I'm sure I'll be fine against the car. No.
Yeah.
Don't let me trouble you.
I'm sure there's a chance that I will win against a car.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a chance. Yeah, it is the same kind of thing. There is a sort of like general kind of etiquette, I think, to the pavement.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, it plays into a hate we talked a while ago about, I think, which is like feeling like you're in the way.
Yes.
And it's like, I think we were talking about how people step out of a shop and then they just stand in the doorway of the shop and then they don't, because they're, where should I go next? Oh, I don't know. And it's like, you could make that decision anywhere.
Yeah.
But certainly not in a thoroughfare where people are also trying to leave the shop or enter the shop.
No.
But the reason that I would never do that is not because I'm some greater moral being than them. It's because the pressure and anxiety I would feel for being even slightly in the way is too much for me to deal with. So I will move out of the way and stand, in a little piss puddle corner somewhere, just so I'm nowhere near anyone while I work out what the fuck I'm doing.
Yeah. I had to pop to the post office the other day. The one in town where you're often queuing for hours.
Yeah.
And when I was heading on my way out of the shop, back when I had a working phone, I was like, oh gosh, I need to send a message quickly. You know what? I'm going to skip to the side and duck into this little corner just to send a message.
Radical notion, apparently.
It's like, I think I'm just, maybe this says more about us than it does about other people, but it's like every moment I'm out the house, I'm like, I always have somewhere to be.
Yeah.
Like, I can't imagine.
I want to go somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And more often, I want to get home just so I can escape this
So it's all over.
This horrendous nightmare of interacting with the outside world. And it's wild. I just can't imagine living so aimlessly.
And obliviously as well.
Stepping outside that goddamn shop. It's for W.H. Smith's in town. It's so often that town.
It is. And that W.H. Smith's
Yeah.
has a wide entrance.
You could park Thunderbird bloody 2 in there.
You could.
Yeah.
And yet somehow that is the most congested shop entrance known to man.
I know. It's
as far as I'm aware.
It's like we get a scientist, get a physicist in here, because the moment somebody steps across that threshold, it's like all higher brain functions just cease. It just kind of stand there.
It is mind-blowing. And yeah, I think it just boils down to like this awareness and this like I'm almost jealous. I almost wish I could float through life in the same sort of oblivious sort of way. Because the biggest source of my anxieties in this world are the pressures I feel from others. And sometimes they're misplaced. Sometimes I think someone's thinking something and I'm wrong.
Yeah.
Or probably
the same.
Anyway.
Oh, yeah.
I just imagine, they're probably so angry at me right now, so pissed off. So I'm not going to ever let myself enter into a situation where they could potentially think those things. And yet, other people seem to be quite happy to do it. It's incredible.
I know. Maybe, I don't know. Are we just filling our time too much? Should we just be
drifting?
Maybe there's maybe
there's a
maybe they're in the right. Maybe
there's
zen.
a joy to this. Maybe
Yeah.
they are zen. Maybe that's true mindfulness.
Yeah.
Living in the true present moment is just not giving
Standing in
fuck.
the awning of a W.H. Smith's, kind of just counting, I don't know, the air motes or something. Yeah.
Yeah, just flicking the beads on an abacus, a pocket abacus that you might have. Ooh, well, like the clack, you might say to yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Well, I feel you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Do you have a love?
Well, I do, and it's only just struck me in the last 5 minutes or so that I was very proud of myself. I was prepared. I'd collected 2 things I wanted to bring to the table, and I've only just realised they were both hates. I don't know what's going on in my brain. I do not know what was going on with my brain. So I very quickly pivoted.
Okay, can you turn it into a love in some way?
I've brought a reserve love out.
Okay.
Which is it's a genuine love. It's just I was wholeheartedly just going to dive into another hate, and I didn't even see the kind of cognitive
It's a show called Hate.
dissonance there.
Yeah.
But no, I love well, again, it's kind of connected to what I've been saying, but I love the mindlessness that comes from long distance running.
Okay. Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some people listening. In fact, I know there's some people listening to whom they're like, huh,
Long distance.
11 and a half miles. Oh, that's cute.
Pathetic.
That is not. No. It's been a weird month.
Mm-hmm.
A lot's happened. I've quit my day job.
Yep. Congratulations.
Thank you. I didn't get a medal.
I'll get you one, don't worry.
Thank you. Cheers.
Got two dragons
Second
on
hand.
it.
What's a sherbet on it?
It's covered in goo.
Ooh. So I've quit my day job, making the transition to being my own man, 24/7, doing my own shit.
And that's not easy.
No, and I've had a bit of a run up. I've been working part time for a year and a half or so, but it's been tricky, you know. And I'm really busy.
That's good.
Really busy at
That's
the
what
moment.
you want.
No, tons of shit going on. And to be honest, I'm actually struggling, even with all this time, to balance the shit I'm working on at the moment.
Sure.
And we're all ostensibly running a half marathon
In a few weeks.
in a few weeks. Yeah. And so ostensibly, yeah, in principle. And so, you know, this year has gone from New Year's Eve, us all kind of
Oh, wouldn't it be funny if we ran a half marathon?
yes, us all kind of like drinking in Chris Ray's house.
Yeah.
And I believe you and Ali saying, we've been doing the park run.
Yeah.
Tomorrow is Saturday, and it's what, like 12:30 now.
On Friday night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why don't you come running with us tomorrow? And
Yeah.
I'm like, I haven't run in 14 years. That would be fucking mad. I'll go on.
But still you came.
I'm like, all right, yeah. And it was horrendous. Yeah. So it's gone from like January the 1st going like, I think I'm dying. I hate everything about this to, oh, I'm quite looking forward to the run on Saturday.
Interesting.
And now I'm like, I'm not going to the run on Saturday because I have my own schedule.
Yeah.
I have my own miles to run.
That's true. That's how
Yeah.
we've evolved over this time. We went from, in my case, not a runner. Your case, not a runner for 14 years. To, we run the park run every Saturday morning. And boy, howdy, what a cool habit we've gotten into. And that's great. And then we leveled up, we evolved again into our third and final form, which is we're going to run on our own training
I'm going
schedule.
to be very selective about when I run.
Yeah. And how far I'm not going to lock it into just a 5K.
Yeah.
I'm going to do something more.
And it's really weird how my life feels very weird and complex at the moment. And now I'm like, I'm itching
Are you?
to run.
Even right now, could you go
A
for a
little
run?
bit, yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
Right now I'm running the mental equation about how do I run tomorrow morning
Indeed.
or do I run tomorrow afternoon?
Yeah,
Knowing that we have a wedding to attend on Saturday.
we do. Yeah.
Saturday's also my birthday.
Oh, yes, indeed.
Which is
Yes.
fucking weird, yeah. So I'm like, okay, when am I going to get that run in?
Yeah, the wedding's kind of stolen your thunder a little bit there. but-
No, someone else paid to put on a very
well,
expensive
that's
party.
true,
in
actually.
my
You're
honour.
getting a big old party.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to get a good old birthday.
So my weird thing is that like I am now when my life just feels to be getting like weirder and more complex, and I'm a little stressed. I'm like, I just want to hit that open road. I just want to run because that's the only time that things kind of make sense.
Yeah,
Like,
and also the beauty of a run is that once you're out on it, there's no way back except to essentially run back.
Yeah.
So you are in this place of, well, I can't do the admin. I can't do whatever. I can't do those things. I can only do this. And there is a huge amount of like mental satisfaction to be drawn from putting yourself in a position where the only thing you can do and the only thing you can think about is the thing you're currently doing. And it is somewhat mindless.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, if you give me my home and free time, all I'll do is feel guilty about the million and one things that I'm not doing.
I haven't like actively done a thing I enjoy in weeks. This sounds like a cry for help. Maybe it is. I don't actually know.
This is
like,
an intervention.
I don't actually know like what my hobbies are or what I enjoy anymore
I've been
because
struggling with this a little bit.
yeah, it's
Because so many of what were my hobbies have now become kind of my work
Yes.
and like my
Yeah.
livelihood.
Yes.
And I still love that. But it's like, well, what do I do when I'm not doing those things?
I don't know anymore.
I don't know
No.
anymore. No, I haven't played a video game.
No.
In like 3 weeks.
No.
I tried to play one the other day. I was like, what is controller?
I know.
Question mark?
I bought a video game.
Did you?
Yes, I've not touched it.
No.
Because I don't know what to. I don't know. Like, when do I do this? When do I enjoy it? I don't know.
When am I supposed to, like, literally, like you said, the fact that you checked in on our cat, and thank you very much for that, by the way. The fact that I came back from America and then had to go away again for a family thing, that forced you to have to look after my cat has proven that I haven't stopped since coming back from America.
No, you haven't, no.
To be able to, I had an evening this week where I was suddenly like, oh my God, I don't need to do anything at all. And I fucking wasted it. And I felt shit about it. But I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do, though.
Yeah.
Like, in this time.
I know.
And I probably should have run, actually. The answer is I probably should have gone for a run. Because that sounds like, I have run this week.
Yeah.
But I didn't run then. And I was like, fuck, that's the answer.
It's, I don't know. I keep telling myself there will come some moment where it'll be fine.
I tell myself this all the time. Yeah.
But I don't know what it is. I read years ago that, like,
When we retire.
someone commented once, like, what are all these runners running from? Like, there's something. What is it? And I'm like, oh, you're just being facetious. But now I'm like, oh,
I know what I'm running from.
I think there is something I'm running from. And it's like, I've found, because I've got quite a nice route now, which is door to door, 11.5 miles.
Nice.
Which is not that does not a half marathon make.
No.
But I'm like,
what is a half marathon in miles?
like 13 and...
Okay, not far off though.
Change. So I'm like, and I think I've got an idea of how I can add a tiny bit to that route to make it perfect.
Don't run the half marathon distance before though.
Ah.
Well, you have run a half marathon before. I
Yeah.
suppose. But it takes something away from what you do on the day.
Oh, I don't know. I was so the other day I was so close, and I was
Really?
like, I could just push on, and I'm like, but I in the moment I was knackered and I couldn't.
Yeah.
But it's like when the Queen comes to turn on a nuclear power station.
Yes, which she does a lot.
They don't turn it on in the moment. They've turned it on like 12 hours before.
Yeah,
and
because
then they have a big ceremonial lever for her.
The turbines take a while to spin up.
Yeah, and you don't want it to not work.
No, indeed. That'd
So
be embarrassing.
I want to be in that scenario where
I see.
I want to run the half marathon the night before and then turn up and
so
go.
you know you can do it.
Yeah.
I will not have done that. On the day will be the first time in my life ever I have run that distance. And it's going to be a shit show.
It's going to be great. Well, if you turn up wearing a medal, the additional weight.
Oh my God, I'll already have won a medal.
Yeah, the additional weight will be awful. But
the additional clink of putting a medal around my neck and hitting an existing medal I'm already wearing.
and
will make it
whoever's
all worth it.
like kind of edging up on you, just twirl that fucker.
That's true. I can bolus them.
And that sherbet's going to be a real energy boost.
Yeah, well, I am. Like, people talk about gels and water and all sorts of stuff you've got to take with you, but I'm just going to have a bum bag full of sherbet.
You just keep like dunking your hand.
Yeah,
into
you know
it,
how climbers put their hands in
Yeah.
those chalk pouches? It's going to be like that, except I'm licking the little fingies.
In the rain incident the other day, where I was drenched to my skin, so a couple of weeks ago I went running, and I was really starting to up the distance, and I in terms of what I was wearing on my lower region, I was wearing my running shorts.
Nice.
And let's not get too graphic here, but
Okay.
I for that particular run, I went free and easy.
Oh, nice.
I was like,
Freeballing.
I want that breeze.
Yeah.
And when I get back, you know those kind of like stretchy hands you can kind of like slap at a wall.
Yeah, and they're all covered in hair and fuzz and stuff. Yeah,
That's kind of what was going on down there towards the end. Like there was a friction and a kind of
sticky adherence.
swingy kind of, which everything was a little raw, shall we say. So I said to myself, never again.
Never again, you said.
John's going to have an undercarriage.
Yes.
And he's going to talc up.
Oh, you got talc.
Got to talc it,
I don't think I own any talcum powder, but it's a wise choice.
Well, I talked up,
Okay.
and it's been great ever since.
Brill.
Now, fast forward to this rain scenario.
Oh, no.
Where
You talked before you headed out?
oh, you gotta.
Got a talc.
Yeah. And I was like mile 7 or 8, and I'm like, well, I'm drenched, but I feel great. And at some point, my eye wandered down,
Oh, no.
and I realized that like my legs were white,
White.
with a thick paste, which was creeping.
Oh, my God.
Creeping out of my trouser leg.
Do you think you'd pass anyone at this point? Do you think anyone...
Oh, some people saw me. A lot of people saw me, yeah.
Great.
There is a white, it looks like a Dulux kind of white emulsion, kind of just running down my legs, out of my shorts and into my socks.
He's just coming as he runs.
Yeah.
Just constantly.
Yeah.
Streaming it out.
He looks so happy as well, yeah.
Running does a lot for this guy.
Yeah, it was like, it was a soupy mess, shall we say. Yeah.
See, my running shorts have an internet inside them, which I believe is what it's called.
Bluetooth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
an MP3 player built in, and they sort of the net is sort of collects everything into some sort of like ball hammock inside.
Oh, you got it. Yeah.
But then the shorts themselves are sort of area and free flowing.
Yeah.
And for the longest time, I've been wearing pants or boxers underneath my shorts. But they get bunched up into this internet, and I'm like, oh, I think I see what the point of the internet is. It's so that I don't wear anything underneath, and
you get that aeration. Yeah.
Yeah, and it takes care of holding everything in place. And ever since I've switched to that mode,
You're probably preventing a bit of an inner thigh situation where
indeed, nappy rash sort of scenario.
Yeah, I mean, it was biblical.
Yeah.
But the catch is that if you are talking up in a monsoon, it looks kind of like the opening scene of Jurassic Park, where they're like kind of you undress at the end and that you're having to like get a little brush out to excavate.
Right. Oh, I see.
Because it's like it's caked.
I was thinking of the scene in Jurassic Park where that poison dinosaur squirts poison into Dennis Nedry's eyes. I was thinking, is that what John's talking about?
Yeah.
Like if you did a high kick, you would sort of squirt white liquid into someone's passerby's face.
It's more like you get off a run and you kind of like you peel off and you can't use your legs anymore because they're ropey as fuck.
Yeah.
But then it's like, what's going on down there? Oh God, it looks like a bath bomb.
It looks like a paleontological dig site. Yeah, and I'm going to have to brush away.
I have to let this dissolve for a bit before I can actually find anything. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Well, good to know. Maybe that's how bath bombs are made. I don't know.
But I think with the route I found that like the first 2.5 miles feels like a segment because I'm running down to a particular point. That's fine.
Yeah.
Interestingly, I found the first half mile is horrible.
Oh, interesting.
Everything hurts.
Right.
Then beyond that half mile,
your body's
the
like,
pain
this
stops.
This is happening, I guess. Yeah.
And then 2.5 miles, that's a great segment. I feel like, I'm burning young energy. Oh,
how youthful I am.
Oh, I feel like I'm eating a Kinder Surprise or something. Like I'm just
toy and all.
Yeah, toy and all. I just feel bubbly. And then almost without fail, the next 2 miles, I start to get like a stitch.
Oh,
and then I have to control my breathing.
Yeah,
this is becoming quite uniform. And next 2 miles, I'm like, right, okay, breathe. Mm-hmm.
I find in through my nose, out through my mouth clears a stitch. Don't know.
I'm like, I force it. Like I go, I like force in as much air as I can, like
stretch it all out,
and then like but then like miles, I don't know, like 3 to 4.5, I'm feeling a little ropey, bit of a stitch.
Okay, yeah,
and then beyond that, it's fine.
I've noticed this as well. Like, I don't know whether the distances are the same, but I have to get past this initial kind of like acclimatization period when my body's like, this sucks, and I want you to go home. And then, but if you're doing a big loop, the beauty of that is that your body realizes a third of the way in, say, that the only way home is to run it all out and to come home. And so then there's this like weird understanding that your logical mind and your physical mind come to terms with each other, and they're just like, we're just gonna have to get through this. And as a result, you reach this kind of like pace, I guess. Yeah. And at those times, I have felt like I could maybe run forever like this. I could run forever. And the only reason that I stop is because it's a loop and I end up back home.
Yes.
And I'm like, oh, fuck, shit, I think I can do this half marathon. Despite the fact the longest I've run so far is 12K. So it's 20 is the half.
What is 12K? Like, I guess it's over half, isn't it? That'd be like...
It is over half, yeah, which
7,
I'm happy
8,
for.
8, 9 miles?
Yeah,
like that?
something like that. Maybe not quite 9, but 8 maybe.
8 maybe?
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I'm happy with it.
Yeah.
I need to get it up a bit more. But as I say, I'm not going to run the distance before the day. But
it's so funny you mentioned like having a loop is beneficial because like I was perfecting my loop, and the first couple of times I did it, it was only like 9 miles.
Right.
And it's very dispiriting when you get home. You haven't done as much as you want to. Then you're like, oh, I guess I'll run around the block a couple of times.
I've done this. Yeah.
But then you do that, and it's very easy to quit.
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh, why am I fucking doing this?
I'm basically at home, and I kind of want some Frosties.
Running away from home again is very dispiriting.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. And you sort of think to yourself, oh, I can add a K on or something. And it's like, you won't, though.
No,
you fucking won't.
Why would you? Yeah.
No, because there are fig rolls at home in a little Tupperware.
What do you find yourself craving? Is it fig rolls?
It's not fig rolls, no. Not when I'm running. I think I often have a can of like Fanta or something in the fridge, and I find myself craving a cold liquid broth.
I find myself really, a couple of times, generally I find myself craving sugar.
Yes.
Like mile 8, this is my weird thing. I've got a bit of a routine now where I get home, and literally the greatest thing I can imagine is a cracker covered in butter and jam.
Okay.
and I'll come home and I'll eat 10 of those. and it's like all I want is my sweet. I want my sweet. I want my brown sugar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a weirdly specific, because I thought you were going to say, because I know you have a problem when it comes to jelly babies and wine gums.
Well.
And I thought it was going to be get home, bag of wine gums.
Oh, my fuck. My fuck. If there were, this is why I don't keep them in my house.
Yeah.
I'd eat the whole goddamn bag.
Mm.
I ate like 2 goddamn bags when we went down to a stag do, and I was the only person in the car.
That's true.
Yeah,
it's easy.
Anyone want a wine gum? John, I would actually like one. Oh, don't worry, no.
No, that's been me.
Yeah.
I've been sat there in a passenger seat. I waited a minute, and that was maybe too long. You know, people when they go on runs, they have like gels.
I've heard about these gels.
I've never had one before. It's like a sachet, and you go.
It's like a froob.
Yeah,
full of,
yeah, and it's like pure sugar jelly stuff, and it's meant to invigorate and energize you. And I'm gonna maybe try one out at some point.
I can kind of see the appeal, because a couple of weeks ago, in my weaker moments, I was like, I'm going to pack, and I shit you not, I wrapped 4 fruit pastels in a bit of kitchen roll.
See, this was going to be my joke, is that your equivalent of gels is going to be carrying some wine gums.
Well,
with you in a
I can see why people like jelly babies, because they're easy to chew. I made the mistake of like mile 6 thinking, I'm going to get some fruit pastels out of my pocket and eat them. Mm-hmm. Very hard to chew while you're struggling for breath. It's not good.
Ooh, an American hard gum.
Ooh, sports mix.
Oh, I think I'll have a fisherman's friend.
Well, this is original. Oh, great. But no, and then the weirdest thing happened when I was running in the rain the other day, drenched to my skin. I didn't get the sugar craving. I got a mustard craving.
What?
I shit you not. Mile 10.
This is like a pregnant woman.
I know. Like mile 10, the only thing I could keeping me going is there's like, I knew I'd purchased some mustard that week, and it's like floating on the horizon. And I got home. And I got the jam out because I figured I'm probably going to want some jam in a bit.
Yeah.
I love jam.
Yeah.
But I got the mustard out first.
What did you like? Did you just want mustard, or did you want mustard on something or with something?
I got that goddamn cracker.
Yes, and put mustard on it.
And I snapped it in half. And I dunked that cracker straight into the mustard jar.
I mean, to be fair, I understand.
And I ate about 4 to 5 crackers covered in mustard.
And half a jar of mustard.
And I felt, well, that jar is almost empty now. I felt great.
Yeah. There's meant to be some science behind cravings. It's that the body understands that it needs something, and it's somehow learned that the thing it needs is present in this certain thing. So it tells you want that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I believe this, but what could your body possibly need?
What is that magical mustard energy that I'm not getting?
But maybe that's the secret to marathon running. Maybe mustard is the answer.
Yeah.
Maybe people pour water over their heads when they're crossing the finish line. You're going to have a bottle of squirty American-style yellow French's mustard right in the eyes.
I need to run with like a couple of holsters.
Yes.
It's like jam in one, mustard in the other.
A couple of teaspoons in each
Yeah.
hand.
I guess it's salt and sugar deep down.
I guess it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I heard an interesting thing that don't on the day, and I'm not saying like you were going to do this, but this is something I've taken on board. On the day, don't run with a water bottle in your hand unless you've been training with a water bottle in your hand, because it will just fuck you up, because all of your muscles and everything have got used to running a certain way, and now you're carrying a weight on one side that you weren't before. So that's interesting.
I have a little ring bowl.
Ring bottle?
Yeah. Have you seen these?
Like a ring pop?
Well, it's like a bottle which is shaped like a ring.
Oh, and you can put your hand through it?
Yeah.
I've seen those.
I've been running with that.
You've been running with it.
Yeah.
So there you go. You've been putting it into your training.
It's very satisfying.
I'm going to be taking advantage of all of the stations of water, I guess, because I have not been running with water. So
there'll be it's not just water. You got your Lucasade, Stella,
yeah, vodka, cocktails, handy,
soda float,
yes,
gravy,
mustard float,
got it all. Yeah. Oh, thank you. I will.
Brilliant. Yeah. Agreed. I can understand where you're coming from. I don't know whether I'm quite at the point where I'm looking forward to / enjoying a run, but I can understand it. I do understand it. Yeah, maybe I have yet to get there. Who knows? Maybe. I do have a love. Again, it's very basic.
Tell me about
but
it.
But here we go.
I love winning awards.
I love winning awards in Indianapolis specifically. No, I discovered something called Lenore Crease Release. And this is a real thing.
Oh my god! I mean, I roast some vegetables at lunch, and I tell you, about 1 p.m. I had a crease release.
I'm desperate to release my crease right now, and this podcast is really going on. I'm going to release that crease. Oh, man. Now, this is a real product that humans can buy in shops.
Oh my god, okay, yeah.
And it comes in a spray bottle. It looks like Febreze.
Sure,
right?
yeah.
Let's say you've got a crunkled up shirt. And you want to wear that shirt soon.
It's so creased though. I can't wear it.
It's so creased. There's no way to release those creases, right? Spray this on it. Leave it for 10 minutes. No creases.
No creases. That's
and I was
incredible.
like, that's bullshit.
That sounds
categorical
like bullshit.
Yeah. I saw it on a TikTok. I was like, this person's lying to me. And then I was in Wilko's and I saw it there on the shelf. And I was like, well, I kind of want to know.
Wait. So you're saying you're patient zero for internet advertising where...
100%.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, nobody else has bought Lenore Crease release until now. They've been stocking it, but no one's been buying it. I brought it home, followed the instructions. I had a crunkled up shirt. I didn't need it. I just thought, I just want to try this thing out.
Oh, you got it, yeah.
Squirt it on. You got to get it wet, right? But of course, that hasn't been a problem with this heat wave.
Wait, so you're spraying a liquid onto a pre-wet
No. You get it wet with the spray.
Oh,
yes,
wow.
It's completely dry.
Yeah.
You have to spray. It doesn't take much to make it wet. And then leave it for 10 minutes. Come back. Not crease anymore. What the fuck is going on? What black magic is... I don't understand. Would that just happen with water?
Surely this has made ironing irrelevant.
Well, I think that's the idea.
Wow.
Yeah, and I have an iron. But the thing is, I don't have an ironing board. So whenever I iron, it's kind of a pain in the ass. And I don't have many things that require ironing, just the odd shirt that I might want to wear for, say, I don't know, a wedding at the weekend. So I was like, well, if this works, this will be incredibly convenient. And it fucking works. It fucking works. I don't have words for it. Some science miracle.
So has this in itself changed your entire attitude towards clothing and
towards advertising and the general cynicism I approached advertising with, the fact that I thought that it was all lies? Now, like, well, they clearly made a product that actually does something, that actually kind of does what it says on the tin, and they sold it, and I suppose they'd have to in a way. But I always just assumed that these sorts of things just don't really work. You know, maybe they would slightly work. Maybe the creases would release by 10%. And, you know, they would say, well, that's enough for us to say it works, but it wouldn't be enough for anyone to ever repeat buy this product. But no, this actually fucking works. This actually works. It's wild. It's absolutely wild. I love it. Yeah, I love it. I don't need to iron ever again.
How long did it take to come into effect?
About 10 minutes.
Really?
But the clothes are still a bit wet at that point, so you couldn't really wear it then.
So we could do it live on air.
Yeah, we could do.
There's enough hooks in this room. We could hang up a t-shirt.
We could start at the beginning of the show. I could at the beginning of the show, and then we could check in 20 minutes in, and it would probably be crease free at that point. So
aside from any potential fumes that would be released in an enclosed space,
it smells quite nice actually. It smells like Febreze.
We could and should do this on air.
We should do We should do a control where we have another squirty spray and it's just water.
Yes.
Because what if getting anything wet with a spray, maybe that gets creases out?
I mean, I think there'd be a slight element of that. Surely.
Because it would weight it down, right?
Yeah.
And if it got it doesn't get sopping wet. It doesn't get wet like you're washing it. No. It just gets surface wet, like you've got a bit sweaty in it, kind of thing.
Because if you've got I haven't ironed in a very long time, but if you've got back in the day, if you had a bad crease and you're ironing it, you'd press that special button, spray a bit of water on it.
Yeah, you would. That's true.
So the secret,
or steam or something.
Is water or steam.
Yeah, but I'd be interested to know whether this is just getting it a bit wet makes the creases go, and if that's true, Lenore Crease Release is kind of a lie. It works, but it only works because anything would work, and that therefore I've spent $2.49 on a bottle of this shit, and it's actually just water with a slight fragrance in it.
It has brought you a lot of happiness, though.
It has. I haven't read the ingredients. I did read the instructions.
Do not use inside your house. Do not breathe.
Do not use in the presence of cats. Do not use in the presence of humans. No, I don't know what the ingredients are. I should check that out.
No.
But even then, if it said something like sodium acyl sulfate.
What if you read the ingredients and there was only one, and it was called flatoleum? You know.
Yeah, or just ingredient Y.
Smootholium B. Wow.
Yeah, that sounds made up.
Yeah.
Like Nutrillium.
It'd be like those adverts for like, the science of makeup, like new L'Oreal, Crease slap, contains pure butylium,
and biospheres.
and bio-gorgeous,
Yeah.
energizing attractivium interacts with the sagging skin in your face.
Gastrocilium B12, present in every squirt.
Yeah, pure flatolium energy is energized through the crease weave of your clothing. Wow.
I'd believe it.
I'm 100% invested in this.
Yeah. I'm 110% invested.
Yeah.
We should do a test. I like the idea of a scientific control-based test. It would need to be the same item of clothing.
Couple of t-shirts.
Couple of t-shirts, same fabric.
Similar weave.
Yeah,
similar tog factor.
We would need to crease them in the same ways. Just bundle them into a box.
Yeah, generic wear and tear.
That's fine. And then, let's try them both out.
Interesting.
Okay.
Let's do that. We'll do that live on air. We'll hang it up, and then at the end of the episode, we'll look and see which has
released the most creases. Yeah. Okay. Okay, I'm up for it. But either way, I love it.
Well, I guess we've reached that magical point in the episode then where we have to ask ourselves, what won, love or hate?
Indeed. Well, if you're asking me, and I suppose you are, because I'm the only other person in this room, and that would be really weird. I think that hate won tonight.
Oh, interesting.
I was going to say that there's some power in the hates tonight.
There's
some hate in this room.
I feel it's almost like a quasi love, but I feel like the general all the discussion about that award you won.
Well, yes, that was some positivity.
It kind of left me feeling a degree of
warmth.
Yeah, almost joy.
Yeah, I'll admit I hadn't taken that into account.
But it's not. You're right.
Not to, because there were rules to this.
Yeah.
There are rules we have to adhere to.
Yeah, I mean, and Fisherman's Friend. I mean, like, fuck Fisherman's Friend.
Fuck Fisherman's Friends.
Maybe more so than any episode. I feel really on the fence about this one. I don't know.
That's interesting. I wonder what if it's an indecision?
That's impossible.
Is it?
It couldn't happen.
Because what if this is the one thing that will call Chris Ray back?
The only thing that lets us... Look, let's be honest. The only thing that allows us to escape this grim... The grim blood pact we've entered into is that every week, our hour and 40 minutes to 2 hours is over when we make a choice. And without a tiebreaker, if you go where I think you're going with this logically... Without the power of Chris Ray, we may never escape. We may be trapped here.
I wonder whether it's what we have to do. We have to be honest with ourselves.
No, I choose hate.
Okay.